Well, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here again. I think this is my 17th BOMA. I didn't know what BOMA stood for when we first began. And I've really been pleased with the evolution of the relationship between the city and this organization from, just sort of wary of each other, I would say, at the beginning, to the BOMA Design Awards, to working on the building permit process, to, really a great relationship. And I appreciate that across the board. Those of you that know me know that if I'm not anything, I'm persistent. And this year, I want to repeat what I said last year, which was, would the Bowmans consider moving this event to a little later in the day? I used to do my State of the City at 7:30, and people would be looking at their watch because they had to get to work. And then we decided, what about 4 o'clock in the afternoon? A little more relaxed, we keep things moving, and afterwards we have a wonderful post-game event with a cocktail or two for those that are inclined. BOMA, please consider it. You get an even bigger crowd, and the esprit de corps that comes from that post-game event, I would really recommend. So I'll be back again to say it next year if you don't. So if you don't want to listen to me anymore, why don't you give that a try? I'm glad for the topic here, Beyond the Boom. I think that's exactly what we all need to consider, and that's a commercial real estate group like this. I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about housing. Might seem odd, but I think we all need to be thinking about the broader context that we do our work in. We all know, and it was great to hear the clip earlier about talking about workforce and talking about the other issues that come up. Housing has got to be up there among those most important issues. I go to a fair amount of conferences and a fair amount of places, San Francisco being the poster child. They practically plead with us in other parts of the country not to do what they did. Don't grow jobs without growing housing. It's just that simple. We have to focus on that. In the city of Boise, we're going to work hard on that, especially on the affordability part. I'm going to just tick these off quick because they're the 5 strategies that we're going to pursue. We think collectively they're going to help considerably. We're working on a housing trust fund, public and private, of around $20 million, 10 private, 10 public. We think that'll go a long ways towards leveraging land into a project that brings affordable housing. State of Idaho has a housing trust fund. They've just not put any money in it. Query whether a trust fund without money is actually a trust fund at all. But it isn't helping, obviously. And we need to work on that here. If we can get it going locally and have some success, maybe we can spread it beyond just the city of Boise. Difficult, but an important piece. We want to look at our zoning ordinance and try to allow more denser zoning as a right within the ordinance. That can be tough. We believe it's time to look at that. Accessory dwelling units as part of that. Can we make it a little easier to build those? Is there an incentive? We've given an incentive for downtown housing. We're not sure it's exactly cause and effect. We set out to build 1,000 units. We've exceeded that already. We wanted to do it by 2020. We've done it by this year. If you bring us an affordable housing project, we're going to lower your fees and see if that can't help a little bit as well. Public and private partnerships have been good to us. We need to work that even harder. And finally, between the Idaho Housing and Finance and CCDC, those are really the only tools that we have. We want to leverage those to do all we can. So those are what we're going to pursue. We ask you to help us out for your organization, individually in your companies and collectively as a group. to help us focus on this housing issue. If we don't get it right, the opportunities that we see, the quality of life that we see is going to slip away. Along with that, and I'm going to speak a little less in detail, but we all know that transportation is key to a future in this valley, where we move across the valley easy. That's going to be public transportation. I think we all know that just fundamentally. Legislature seems unwilling to allow us the ability to go to our citizens and ask for funding to do that. Your organization and you all are more persuasive than the public sector is. We'd ask you to dig in on that issue, or again, it's going to slip away before we have a chance to address it. It's going to be among the most important issues going forward, again, beyond the boom. I just wanted two quick things. My clock is ticking out here. It's great they put a little meter on us so we can see how much time we have. 5, 4, 3. Just two really quick things. I want to recognize somebody that's meant a lot to our city. He's now gone back into your industry, and that's Derek O'Neill. I know that Derek O'Neill is here. Please give him a round of applause for all he did for the city. 6 years as our planning director. Derek's the kind of person that makes everybody around him better. I was hoping he'd stay for 3 years. He stayed for 6. It's made all the difference, and we're going to build on his success and fill that post. And finally, I will just say at the end of my speech, and I haven't given a single dig to ACHD. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to leave it that way.